Socialbakers, this is a presentation about how to increase the ROI of your social media investment. Who spends money on social? Who wants to spend more money next year? Oh, only so little. You're the majority. So let's take a quick look what we do and what it is. So social media today, for all those who still think that's stuff that teenagers and millennials do on their smartphones, it's huge, it's growing fast. Back of the envelope calculation is around $30 billion this year compared to search, which should be somewhere between 80 and 100 billion, so already one-third the size. If you only think that's millennials doing it on their smartphones, it's already impacting your KPIs as of today. Investing, putting money there isn't that easy, so we suggest that you have a robust data and analytics to steer the course in these fast-moving waters. How do we do that? Platform overview. The guys who produced the chart really hates it, and after he produced it, I can tell why. So it's really huge, and it's growing fast. So it's really growing with several dozen% year on year, and it's already a pretty large landscape. I'll have an easier one like that just afterwards. So money follows eyeballs. Who knows what the Facebook revenue 2014 was? Hello? Any guesses? Facebook revenue 2014? No one? Oh, come on. All right, it's $12.5 billion last year, and already this year they're at 12 billion, right? So they're probably going to end up around 20-ish. So again, for everybody who thinks that this is not relevant, it's not a market that you should be in, it is. That's an interesting chart, so to know, where Facebook and Google are as one of the biggest players in this market collecting ad dollars. That's comparing the revenues of Facebook and Google after they went public. And I don't have the 12th quarter, which was just released, but from Q1 and that's in 2004 for Google and 2012 for Facebook until now. It is a trend that bears certain similarities. So blue is Facebook, Google is green, and the figures below the chart are all wrong, right? So, and coming back to, is the money being put to play? So Google has about 30% of the referral traffic today, and but 45% of the digital ad spend in total. And if you look at social, it's almost the same size, so almost so around 30%. But the share of the budget today is less than a third of what's been spent in search. So for all of you guys who have a big team that spends money on search and Google, you might want to think about doing the same thing on social. And yes, agreed that search is closer to the conversion, so you're going to get your dollar back faster. But also because the competition on social is still quite low in comparison to the available inventory, you might actually get a better deal. You might get a better ROI on social when you put your money there. That was the question I asked initially. So it's not only a lot of money, but almost everyone wants to spend more money. So it starts with the platforms. Is that visible? Oh, yeah, it's quite good. So a lot of people already spend money on Facebook, but there's also Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and so forth. So we often use Facebook as an equivalent for social, although they really don't like that because they don't like to be called a social network. But we use it because it's public information, and they're definitely leading the pack. So whatever is being done in this market is actually led by Facebook, so it's a good illustration of the things that you have. But of course, you have all these other companies as well that are offering opportunities to reach your users, right? And that brings me to the next slide. So, okay, it's big, it's important, it's growing fast, so let's do it. And you guys do it, that's cool. But where do I put my chips? Where do I put it in this complex world that's growing fast? So you have new social networks coming out of nowhere, and they're like really huge within a short time. You have the big behemoths, of course. You've got the big video platforms, but where do you put your money, right? The second question is, will my existing or my old media strategy, will it work? Well, on search, most of the search fields more or less look the same. And yes, there's location, there's your previous searches, et cetera. It'll be changed algorithmically. But Facebook has about 1 billion people online, and each one of them has a different news feed. So what do I have to do in order to reach the users that are scrolling through their feed, right? And how do we produce that amazing viral content? That's a level of interactions which is gained by content, and you can see two things. Brands, those are the guys who spend most of the money on social, and then you have media that's going really gangbusters on this chart. Media grows because they have content, right? And brands have a challenge. They often have to develop content around their brands to keep users engaged. So there's a huge advantage for media, and then everybody's tasking the teams with, create this great video where a guy jumps from space and parachutes and then gets like 40 million views. So it's not that easy. And which measurements work? So you're in an environment where you go from likes, comments, shares, and then you have clicks, visits, conversation, photo views, messages, and nowadays it's video views, deeper engagements, etc. So what is the stuff that works? So indeed, it's not that easy to do. So, but hey, wasn't there a company that does that exactly? Yeah, and you're right. We have like 2,700 clients globally, and we help them out to charter this this territory, right? So it's uncharted territory. It's fast-moving, and it's all about the question: where should I put your money? So you monitor your own activities across all the platforms in one place, and over time, where do I get better? Where do I suck? Where should I double down and which should I avoid? And then you can benchmark yourself versus your competitors, versus the industry, different regions and markets, right? And then there's a whole set of tools that will help you to increase the performance of your investment. So to start with, you can do things, measure them, get better, etc. But then also there's a lot of efficiency tools that allow you to make your dollars carry further than just a dollar. I'll skip this slide. So we all base our strategy on data. You probably do listening, monitoring. You all do web analytics. We deliver the bricks on social and help you to get more information that drives your strategy. Then a couple of products is the analytics product. Basically accumulates everything in one place. Then we have listening and analytics, which also listens to the vibe, a very small version of what Giles presented this morning. We have a new one where you can also manage all your ad spending, so you have all the information that goes into your, that comes from your ad spendings also on the same platform. Then we have a tool called Builder, which allows you to distribute content, so not only look at it, but then go from passive analysis into actionable data and do things, so you can use it to distribute content. Then we have the executive dashboard where everything comes together and where you might want to have your own data connected to it, like your web analytics data, your ERP data, your sales data, your customer tracking, etc. And then in the end, there's what we call the command center, and it goes all the way from a couple of screens that are distributed around the offices so that your teams have the daily measured things in front of them. So like how are they being measured, how do they perform? Up to these sort of Star Trek-like command centers where big brands actually, or big company manage all their brands across the board. And then we have a couple of cool things. Moving a bit further, we're able to have a pretty good prediction whether what people are doing in social networks is organic or whether it's paid for. So if you want to gauge your spend against a competitor or a competitor in a different country, that's going to help you to put together a good budget estimation, what's needed to be able to compete. And then another thing that's often the question is, like, when should I post? When is a good moment so that my great content actually will carry furthest? So we monitor the past history of posting of your brand. We monitor the competition. And then all the industry, like all the noise that your post is subject to. And then we come up with a way of measuring and with a way of predicting. So actually the prediction part is does that have a laser? No. The prediction part is the lower part and saying what's going to be the future noise and how heavy is it. And then you can also see backwards like 36 hours what was the most successful stuff that was going on in order to gauge when is a good time to actually release your content. What do I want you guys to take home today? Again, it's huge, it's growing fast, it's worth the bucks. a lot of the money that's spent on social, or some of the money that's spent on social, isn't tracked yet well. Each time I talk to clients, I talk to friends and so forth, they say, like, if I only knew what it does for me today, how does it help me selling shoes? How does it help me selling insurances? How does it, help me to do that? I think we can put that connection together. It's impacting your KPIs today. It's not easy to do, and it's getting more difficult on a daily basis, because all the platforms are offering new products, they're offering new statistics. What is it that I should be measuring, that I should be looking at? And in the end, most of the people who have a strategy to drive their business, they want a robust data set that belongs to them, as opposed to a data set that's delivered by one of the suppliers who sell you stuff. With that, I say thank you for your attention. And I don't know whether there's room for questions, or do you want to chase me off stage?